Guys, Ravi was actually presenting with slides, but it seems he was having some internet issues, so you guys are not able to hear him properly. Okay, so maybe what we can do is I can actually take over from Ravi, and Ravi, he maybe can explain all these things which he told right now, maybe during the later half of this session. Okay, towards the end, he can explain actually what he was trying to explain. We were sorry for the poor quality of the internet connection, okay, from Ravi's side. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me properly. Can I get a response from you guys in the chat? Is my voice audible to you all? I hope my voice is not breaking. Okay, fine. Thank you. So, guys, I know, Ravi was also trying to give, let me just switch on my video so that you can see me. I hope you guys can see me. Okay. So let me just introduce myself to you all. I am basically working in IT industry from last 15 years. My name is Jyoti Ranjan. Okay. So I've worked in multiple areas, like I have worked in multiple ERPs like SAP, machine learning. I've worked in a lot of analytical tools, right? Power BI, Tableau. Okay. I've also done my master's from Dublin Business School, Ireland. So overall, I'm having experience of almost 15 years. So basically, if I talk about my companies, I worked for companies like Accenture, Atos, John Deere, Birlasoft. Okay, these are my companies. So I welcome you all to this session. And apologies again for the internet connectivity issue. Okay, so those things will be repeated again by Ravi towards the end. Guys, before jumping on to this course, this session which is on text mining, I would like to say something about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So if we talk at a bigger picture, if we talk at a broader picture, so AI is an ocean, guys. It's a big ocean. And in that we have certain things like data mining, deep learning, data science, okay, all these things are there. But all these things mostly come under artificial intelligence. I'm sure you must have heard about artificial intelligence a lot. Okay, it's very viral from last 5-6 years. It's too much viral, guys. So everyone actually wants to come into this field of AI, ML, and data science. So they're basically using a lot of sectors. I mean, you take any sector, you take any name, so they're there in that sector. Whether it might be in the field of science, weather forecasting, military, retail, any sector, finance, any sector, you just name it and it's already there. So all the companies actually they're trying to incorporate artificial intelligence and machine learning in their companies. Why? They help companies make a lot of intelligent decisions. They help save a lot of manpower. They help reduce the cost of the company, cost of running a company. They definitely improve balance sheet of a company. So there are various factors why AI and ML are being used by so many companies and so many sectors nowadays. You take any name, guys. It's not just IT. You take any field, any sector, everyone is using these emerging technologies. Okay. So now, if I come to text mining, today in this 1 hour session, we will be actually going through these points. What is text mining? So there are different terminologies in text mining. We'll go through them. Okay. Before actually building a text mining algorithm or a program, we have to do some pre-processing to the data. We'll actually go through the details. I mean, how do we do that? Then we'll also go through a machine learning algorithm. How do we run it? Okay, I'll show you live. How do we run it? And of course, some advantages and disadvantages of text mining. So everything has its own advantages and disadvantages. We'll also go through that. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. I hope you guys can see my screen as well. If you can just ping me. Okay, fine. Cool. If I talk about the text mining process, guys, so it basically comprises of these 5 basic steps. So initially what we have to do is we have to gather the data. Okay, there has to be a data source, right? So the data might come from Facebook, the data might come from Twitter, the data might come from LinkedIn, any social media, might come from anything. So we just have to gather the data, then we have to do a lot of pre-processing on that data. So the data which comes from social media, it's in a very messy format, right? It's in a junk format. There'll be a lot of hashtags, there'll be a lot of emoticons, there'll be websites, there will be images, there will be links, a lot of things will be there. But machine learning guys cannot actually process these things. So we have to pre-process that data. And I'll tell you how it is to be done, okay, and how what needs to be done to achieve the cleansing of data, basically. Then there is something called indexing, okay. We access the data and we actually try to search the data which is there, okay, and we try to analyze the data. So once these things are done, we do the mining. So where we actually build the algorithm, okay, the machine learning algorithm, how we train the models. We train the model, then the machine learns, okay, how to behave. Then it gives us the output. Once that algorithm is built, once we're able to get something out of the data, then we can actually try to analyze it. There are a lot of data visualization tools in the market, guys, like Power BI, Tableau, a lot of things are available. So once the data is there, we can actually use the data or information to visualize them. And this information is actually used by companies to take business decisions which are quite intelligent enough. Okay. Let me go to the next slide. So if I go about the definition of text mining, it basically refers to extraction of patterns from unstructured text data. Now, guys, you must be curious about this word unstructured, why it is called unstructured. So let me share one Excel sheet with you. I have one Excel sheet open with me. So this is one Excel sheet, guys. Can you see this Excel sheet? I'm not sure whether I shared my whole screen or just that particular template. Can you just ping me whether you can see the Excel sheet or not? Okay, fine. Thank you. So guys, when we actually normally work on normal machine learning algorithms, so there are a lot of examples. There are a lot of capstone projects which we will be doing in our classes. Okay, we normally take care of a lot of capstone projects. So in those projects, the data will be basically in this format. It will be in the form of numbers, guys. The machine learning algorithm, it will not be able to interpret alphabets or characters. So if something, a column is not there in the form of numbers, numeric values, we have to actually convert that. Okay, like you see here, there is something called Y. Okay, here in this column S, there is something called Y. So machine learning cannot actually interpret these columns directly, and it has to be converted. Okay, so these things will be covered later actually. If time permits, then definitely I'll show you how to do that, or else we will go through the algorithm quickly. But yeah, just for the time being, you can remember machine learning algorithms, they cannot interpret alphabets. Everything has to be numbers. Okay, and there is a way to actually convert alphabets into numbers. This is one thing, guys. Okay, go back to the slide. So this is basically so now let me share another template with you, the tweets basically. So if you see this slide, it has 4 columns. Okay, so this column is of utmost importance, guys. So this column is basically the tweets. I have downloaded almost 2 lakh tweets, okay, from Twitter using an API. And I am sure you guys must be using Instagram, Facebook, tweets, these social media sites, right? A lot. So when we tweet something, when we actually go through someone's Twitter handle, then it can be in any format. There can be a lot of emoticons, there can be wild characters, there can be punctuation marks. Sometimes people send smileys, people try to send links, audios, videos, there can be a lot of things. But this algorithm, which you're going to see right now, it cannot interpret all those things. So this data is basically unstructured. This data needs to be cleaned. That's why we have to do a lot of pre-processing on the data. Now, guys, remember one thing, not just text mining, but if you go across any algorithm in machine learning, I mean, 70 to 80% of time is spent on the data. How you clean the data, how you analyze the data. So once that is done, machine learning, algorithm formation doesn't take much time. There are a lot of libraries available in the market, a lot of Python libraries, a lot of libraries in the R, which we can make use of. We don't have to write every line of code, guys. So these functions or basically the libraries packages are available, okay, in Python and R. Those can be used to build our algorithm. We don't have to remember everything. We don't have to remember every line of code. We don't have to write specifically every line of code. Got it? So data pre-processing is really, really important. Whether you talk about text mining, whether you talk about classification problems, whether you talk about regression, anything. Whether you talk about any clustering problems, anything you take in, talk about machine learning or in algorithms, data processing is of utmost importance. It takes a lot of time. 60 to 70% of time is devoted to data preparation. Okay. So now if you see any tweet, like we have this at the rate, okay, we have this ampersand, basically HTML tags, hashtags. Then we have here, if you see this one, we have this some different characters, okay, which doesn't make any sense actually. Again, you have all these Insta handles here in this proper, in this particular line number 14. So these things have to be cleaned basically before we build the program, before we actually do the algorithm, okay? And how we clean it, the cleaning also needs to be done in the algorithm, guys, to the program. I'll show it to you. Now let me go back to the slide. And one more thing, guys, before I proceed, if you go to the first Excel sheet, see, these are basically cells. So every cell has a value. So here, if you see, there are a lot of records. If I count the number of records, I think, just a minute, there are almost 1460 records. Every row is a record, guys. But this data set basically talks about house price prediction. Okay. So what machine learning algorithm is trying to do is, there are different parameters which are fed to the algorithm, machine learning algorithm, and based on this, it will actually try to predict the price of a house. What's the area of the house, when it was built, whether it was remodeled or not, then total basement area, a lot of things are there, whether it is air conditioned or not, how many bathrooms are there, bedrooms are there, kitchens are there, a lot of things are there. So based on these parameters, machine learning algorithm will give you the price of the house. That's a different thing, guys. I mean, we're not going to cover these things now. We're actually basically going to concentrate on text mining now. Okay. But if you see this, every cell has a value. Okay. So these values have to be unique. I mean, unique as in they have to be numeric. Sorry, not unique. They have to be numeric. Okay. Then only machine learning algorithm, they can actually interpret the data and it can process it further. Now let me go back to the slides. So, you know, right, a lot of data is being generated every day. So you guys must be using WhatsApp also. So a lot of things, a lot of groups are there, a lot of people are there. They keep on sending some other stuff, right? A lot of forwards are there, pictures, jokes, memes, a lot of things are there. And if I talk about Twitter also, I mean, a lot of people are there. I follow a lot of people on Twitter handles. I follow Joe Biden, I follow Elon Musk. So both of them, they actually tweet something or the other every day. It might be anything. I mean, they might be tweeting something regarding to the government governance. Elon Musk is interested a lot in cryptocurrencies. He talks about Ethereum. He talks about Bitcoin. He talks about the Dutch coin a lot. Okay, so whatever he tweets, I mean, it becomes viral. You must have noticed, right? I follow him a lot. I follow Elon Musk a lot. I follow Biden a lot, and these people, they tweet almost daily, something or the other. So let's say a company, let's say company is there, a marketing company is there. They have brought a new product to the market, or they are actually doing some marketing. They have actually doing some marketing in the Twitter, or let's say they're doing a marketing in the Instagram. Okay, then people start commenting on that. Now, if they want to find out, okay, how is the response? Whether people are positive about it, whether people are negative about it, what is the sentiment? So now if that company wants to analyze that data, what they can do is they can actually download all those tweets, okay, pertaining to that particular marketing ad, and they can feed it to the machine learning model. The model can figure it out, okay, how many positive tweets are there, how many negative tweets are there, what's the sentiment of the people, okay. So these things are actually, I mean, found out using machine learning algorithms. And guys, if I talk about data, I mean, it's huge. You know how much of data is being generated on a daily basis, right? A lot of companies, government institutions, colleges, schools, I mean, everyone is generating humongous amount of data, guys. I mean, we just keep a track of amount of data being generated on a daily basis. Data is really, really important. Okay, and if I talk about text mining, guys, it's more bit complex as compared to the normal machine learning algorithms or data mining, because the text data is unstructured, which I showed to you right now. Because they might have a lot of wild characters, they might have punctuations, they might have special characters, they might have emoticons. Okay, links must be there, hashtags must be there, images must be there, links to video clips, links to audio clips, a lot of things will be there. Those things have to be cleaned. So yeah, so the things which I mentioned right now, they are just there in this slide. So I'm not going to read it again. Okay, just let me scroll down. This is something important, guys. So when we go through the data, so let me open this Excel sheet again. As this Excel sheet is basically a list of 2 lakh tweets. Okay, I've downloaded tweets from Twitter. This is Twitter ID. It's again in numeric values. It's of not much data. It's of not that much importance. Okay. Then this is on created on date and time. Okay. This is also in numeric values. We can actually segregate time and date. Okay. It's not a big deal. But what is of utmost importance is this tweet data. Okay. And the sentiment. The sentiment column was not there. So we have actually downloaded the tweets based on the emoticons, based on the happy emoticon and the sad emoticon, like this one and this one. Okay. So we have downloaded tweets based on these emoticons. Okay, and accordingly we have actually put the sentiments 1 and -1, guys. Okay, so +1 is for positive sentiments and -1 is for negative sentiments. So out of 2 lakh tweets, 1 lakh are for positive sentiments and 1 lakh tweets are for negative sentiments. Okay. I'm thinking anything. Okay, someone has asked me what is the difference between text mining and machine learning. So guys, text mining is a part of machine learning, basically you can say, or you can say in text mining also we use machine learning models. So machine learning is a very big picture. Okay. It has a lot of problems in it, like classification problems, regression problems. Then we have clustering problems. Okay, support, a lot of things are there, guys. And text mining is just a part of it. There can be a lot of data. Like I said, a company, let's say we have housing.com. Okay, where you try to find houses. So housing.com, they will actually try to figure out the house prices. Okay, let's say Godrej Properties, or let's say DLF. They're selling houses. They're also into business of selling second-hand houses, resale houses. They want to figure out what can be the price of that house. So in that case, they will actually try to build a machine learning model. Okay, the data scientist, and the data can be fed, and it will actually predict the price of the house. Let's say I want to predict the price of a resale car. So a machine learning model can be built to find out the resale price of a car based on different parameters, like when was the car, what was the model of the car, what's the engine capacity. So what extra features does the car have? Okay. So machine learning, it actually has a lot of things inside it, and text mining is a part of it, guys. You can see, visualize it that way. Got another new message. Okay, I think it's about feedback from and all. So now, so if you actually take this whole tweet, the list of tweets, 2 lakh tweets. So this whole list is basically called a corpus, CORPUS. Okay. And this particular line, now every tweet is individual tweet. Okay. They're independent of each other. So every line in this particular corpus is called a document, guys. Okay, this is a document. This is a document. And again, in this document, we have multiple words, right? I is a word, don't is a word, think is a word, anyone is a unique different word. So these words are basically called as tokens. These are actually terminologies which are used in text mining, guys. Now, in this case, we have list of tweets. Let's say we have list of articles, news articles. Let's say I have a list of 1,000 articles. And each article might be having, let's say, 500 lines in it. Each article might be having 10 pages or 20 pages of information in that. So in that case, every article will be a document, guys. Got it? So every article will be a document, and the whole list of articles, whole list of 1,000 articles will be called a corpus. And every single word will be called as a token. Okay. This is what is mentioned in this slide. I think Samir Mondal, he has put this annotation, I think maybe by mistake, sorry. No worries. So that's what is mentioned in this slide. Single word is basically referred to as a here it is. A document is made up of tokens. Okay, that's what I told. A single tweet, every tweet which is independent of each other is called a document, which is mentioned here. Okay. And in a document, we have the words which are called tokens or terms. Okay. It may be an individual word or it may be a string of words. Then let's say I give an example. Let's say I give an example like prime, a word called prime. I can say India Gate is a prime location in Delhi. I can say Nariman Point is a prime location in Mumbai. Let's say we have a tweet called the minister is not coming today. Okay, now you just try to emphasize on this word minister. Now in the earlier sentence, I was trying to emphasize on the word prime. So in the first line, prime had a different meaning. In the second line, minister has a different meaning. But if I combine these two words, prime and minister, prime minister, it has a totally altogether a different meaning. Okay. So in text mining, if we consider a single word, if we consider two words as a phrase, or if we consider three words as a phrase, okay, they have different meanings, guys. Prime has a different meaning as an individual word. Minister has a different meaning as an individual word. But if we combine together, then it has a very bigger meaning, which is lot more significant in itself. Okay, that I'll tell you, explain you in the later slides. So how do we interpret it, guys? I mean, in text mining, normally we interpret as something called document term metrics. Okay, what is document term metrics? As I told you, every line is called as a document. Okay, these are individual tweets, and every single word is called as a term or a token. So we feed actually a document term metrics to a model. Okay, so if I directly load this data to my machine learning algorithm, I mean, it cannot interpret on its own. So when we actually load this Excel sheet to the machine learning algorithm, a lot of pre-processing has to be done on this data. The data needs to be broken into pieces, terms or tokens. Okay, we will see how do we do that. Then it has a lot meaningful value. Okay, then this is used by the libraries, by the packages which are there in machine learning, and we get our output or the result which we are looking for. Okay, so normally what we try to do is we actually try to build a document term matrix of size d into n, where d represents document and n is the token. Okay, number of documents, and n is number of terms or tokens. Okay, they're also called features. There are different terminologies, guys. You can call it a term, you can call it as a token, or you can also call it as a feature. Cool. Now this document term matrix is sparse and high dimensional. Now let's say if I take you to this document again, this has 2 lakh tweets, and every tweet maybe let's say has 100 or 200 words. And if you break again this single line or document into multiple words, I mean it might have 100 words, 20 words, 50 words, anything. So every word will become a token. So you can just imagine what is the number of words in this. Okay, if you just break every tweet into multiple words, and if you just count them all, then it will be huge. Just multiply 2 lakh into 10 is 2 crores. Sorry, 20 lakhs. Multiply it by 100, it will be like 2 crores. It's huge. Okay. So it's very high dimensional data, guys. So every single word or token is actually fed as an input to the machine learning model. Okay. I know it will be a bit tough for you guys to grab everything. Okay. At this moment, because these things are new, but yeah, gradually and slowly you will be able to understand these things, guys. I mean, it will be difficult for anyone who is attending these things for the first time to grab everything. I'm totally okay with it. No worries. It happens with everyone. So this is what I'm trying to explain. I mean, it's a very high dimensional data, because if you break every document into single tokens, so every token will act as an input to the model, and it will be very high dimensional, because there will be a lot of words or tokens in that particular corpus. Okay, guys, I think you are doing these annotations by mistake. Okay, but that's okay. There are some marks, yellow marks, red marks I can see. So if we talk about this matrix, guys, the document term matrix, it's represented by I and jth entry. I mean, so what it means by I or jth entry is, it means that the jth token in the ith document. Okay, so let's say this is 3,5. What is 3,5? 3,5 will be the third document and the fifth value in this. Let's say S, it is true, A will be that particular token. So if I say 3,5, it will be the value A in this list. Okay. So it's just, it's a lot of theoretical things I know, but I'm just trying to explain. So how the machine learning actually breaks this corpus into tokens is, I mean there are actually different ways how it is done. Two very popular approaches are known as bag of words approach and the n-grams approach. So what exactly is it? So bag of words approach is the approach which I mentioned to you right now. Every document is broken into tokens or terms. Okay, that is called as bag of words approach. Okay. If you see here in bag of words approach, each document is made up of individual words. Okay, which is a token or a feature. But each token must be represented as a number in the document term matrix. Again, there are 4 ways of actually doing this, guys. Let me give you a small example. So we saw the tweets, right, in that Excel sheet. Let's say we have these 3 lines in that Excel sheet. Good movie, not a good movie, did not like it. So what machine learning will do is it will actually break these things. I mean, it will actually capture all the unique words in these 3 lines. What are the unique words? Good is a word, movie is a word, not a, did like. Then in the binary representation, what we'll do is it will actually try to put 1 if that word is there or 0 if the word is not there. So if you take the first line, good and movie, it's making it as 1 and 1 because good is there in this line and movie is there in this line. This line is basically a document, guys. In good and movie and not, these things are called tokens or terms. Okay. And it's represented by I, j. So here if I say 2, 3, then it will be 2 will be the second line and 3 will be good. Okay. 2, 3 will represent good. So if you go to the second line, guys, the good word is there, token is there, movie is there, not is there, is there, did and like are not there. So that's why they have been represented as 0. Okay. Similarly, you can also interpret did not like the third document or the third line. Yeah. And what are the next other representations? We actually talked about 4 representations, right? Then the second one is called as term frequency representation. What is that? So here we try to find out the frequency of that particular term. So how many times that particular word is there in that particular document? Okay. So here if you see a good is there just only once. Again, here also good is there just once. Here movie is there just once. Okay. So there is no repetition. But if we actually take a tweet, a real-time example, or if we take any article, so every line or every article might have multiple repetitions, right? Let's say the tweet is, the minister is not coming today. The minister is going to Delhi. The minister is not coming today to Mumbai. The minister is going to Delhi. So in that case, minister is there twice in that particular sentence. Okay. So in that case, minister will be having the frequency 2. So here what we try to do is we actually try to capture the frequency of that particular token in that document or the line. Okay. So if a token is there multiple times in a document or a line, it means that particular word or token is important. This is how it is interpreted in the term frequency representation, guys. Okay. So the term, how many times it's available in the document. So that's why the name term frequency representation. So if a word or a token or a term is there multiple times in a document, then as per this representation, that word is very important. The bigger the number, the more important it is. Okay. But again, if we have long documents, then there are very high chances that a word will be there more times as compared to a shorter document, right? Let's say a tweet is having 300 words in it. Then the possibility is that, okay, a word might get repeated a lot of times. Let's say if a tweet is just 10 words long, it has just 10 words, then it won't have much repetitions because it's a very shorter tweet. Okay? So that's why The system actually interprets it in different ways. A longer tweet will have multiple repetitions. A shorter tweet will have very lesser repetitions. So that's why we do something called normalization, guys. Okay, there's a process for that, and it's achieved by dividing the term frequency by the total number of words in a given document. It's a formula for that. So now we have actually captured the importance of a word or a token in a particular line or a document. Now, what about that importance of particular word in the whole corpus, in the whole Excel sheet? So we have captured the importance of music in this particular line, this line or this line or this line. Whatever the importance of music in the whole corpus, in the whole sheet. So that is actually found out by something called inverse document frequency, IDF representation. Okay. So if you see here, the term frequency tells us about the importance of a word in a document in a single line. It may be of interest to know about the prevalence of a word in the entire corpus, right? So we just found out the significance of a word in a single line, but if we actually talk about the significance of a word in the whole corpus, then we have to figure out this thing, which is called inverse document frequency representation, where it tries to find out the significance of that token in the whole document or the whole corpus of 2 lakh tweets. Okay, and it's given by this formula, guys. Inverse document frequency equal to 1 plus log of this thing. So if you see the denominator here, the denominator has this thing, number of documents containing J. So if let's say out of 2 lakh tweets, one particular token is there in, let's say, 1 lakh tweets, then this number becomes large, right? So if the denominator is large, definitely IDF value will be small. Okay. So if IDF value is small for a token, it means it's of not that importance. If IDF value is large for a token, then it means that value is important. Okay. This is how it is managed. That is how it is balanced. So in the earlier thing we saw, if a document, if a term is present multiple times in a token, that is important. But that's not the case in the whole corpus. So like if I say the word the, or if I say the word a, they are very common words, right? They will be present a lot of times. They will be present thousands of times in the whole corpus of 2 lakh tweets. That doesn't mean the is an important word, is an important word, in is an important word, of is an important word. So if it actually occurs in a lot of documents, the whole word, then it becomes of less importance as per IDF. So guys, to combine these things, I mean, what the scientists they have done is they're actually trying to combine these 2 things: the term frequency, the initial one which I saw, and the IDF, inverse document frequency, and they're actually trying to find out a different approach now. That is called TF-IDF representation. So in TF-IDF representation, what they do is they actually multiply that value of TF with IDF. Then they try to find the TF-IDF for that word or token. And this is called as TF-IDF matrix, guys. The same things have been just written in this thing. Getting some things in the chat. And how can we know that T1 is the particular word? Okay, guys, this T1 is not a word, it's just a representation. I'm just trying to give you an example. So T1 is not a word here. I'm just trying to show you. This is just an example. T1 is the first token, second token, third token. In the real time, it will be a different word actually. Let's say prime is the word, minister is the word, good is a word, movie is a word. So here they just named it for example purpose. Token 1, token 2, and they are documents, document 1. So if that word is available twice in the document, then it comes as 2 here. If that particular word is there in this particular line or document 4 times, it comes as 4. Okay. It's just a representation, just an example, guys. T1 is not a word, T2 is not a word. Got it? Okay, so now we talked about TF-IDF representation, where we actually multiply the TF values with the IDF values. Then we actually come at a figure which is actually more acceptable. So how it is found out? It is found out by multiplying the TF value with the IDF value. So these are all theoretical things, guys. When I'm just trying to explain how it happens in text mining, the theoretical things. These all things will not be used by you. I mean, you're not going to write these formulas, this formula which you saw right now, TF into IDF, or the formula which we saw here, IDF equal to 1 plus log So we're not going to use these formulas directly in our algorithms. So these are all theoretical formulas, guys, just to make you understand how it works in the backend. But in actual machine learning algorithm, we have something called packages or libraries in Python and R. So we have to make use of those packages. Okay, I'll show you in the program how we do that. So guys, this is how a TF-IDF matrix looks like. So if you see these words, so the T1, T2, T3, those are just examples. These are the real words: bacon, beans, beautiful, blue, breakfast, brown. Okay, ham, jumps. They're basically words pertaining to English breakfast. People who have visited Europe or who have had continental breakfast, they must be aware of it. They're basically used in English breakfast: bacon, beans. Okay, brown, hash brown, dog. A dog is, I mean, this is a hot dog, right? Not the normal dog. Eggs. Okay. Okay, so this is how a TF-IDF matrix looks like. Now, as I told earlier, right, it's TF into IDF. Now, what is TF? How many times a word is there in a particular document? Let's say bacon is not there in the first line or the first tweet. Then TF becomes 0. Then if you multiply 0 with IDF, then it automatically becomes 0, right? So there is no point. And you'll get the values like this, guys. But IDF, if you see here, so the formula, right? 1 plus log, and IDF will always be a decimal number. If you use this, it will always be a decimal number. So if you multiply anything with a decimal number, it will become a decimal. That's why you can see these words: 0.38, 0.38, okay, 0.42, like this. So in the backend, it looks like this, guys. So we don't have to bother about these things. So what exactly is this? So machine learning program or the algorithm, it has actually broken the whole corpus into different words or tokens, okay, or terms, and it has actually given values to this. In the backend, a matrix is formed like this, which is something like this, which looks something like this. We don't have to worry about these things, okay? But it's just to show you how it works in the backend. So yeah, these are things I mentioned. We actually talked about the bag of words approach, where we break the particular document into multiple tokens or terms, right? But if we have a phrase like prime minister is much more important, guys. Let me give you another example. Let me say that, okay, the customer is not coming. Okay. And let's say I have another word like the satisfaction level of my anything, any word, the satisfaction level was not that great. I can say another word, the customer is not coming. So customer and satisfaction, they mean different things in these two words. But if I combine customer satisfaction, then it means a lot to a retailer, to a business person, right? As a business person or retailer, he will be very much concerned about this particular phrase called customer satisfaction. So if here you see, if we combine words, if we are not breaking the words, they are actually becoming more important. That's why we will have another approach in text mining that is called n-grams approach, guys. Earlier one, which we saw where we break the whole document into different terms, that is called bag of words approach. This one is called n-grams approach. So the n can be 1, 2, 3, anything. So if I'm taking one word into consideration like prime, it will be unigram. If I take two words into consideration in the phrase prime minister, it will be bigram. If I take three words, it will be trigram, and so on. So this is the thing which I mean is mentioned here, what I told to you right now. So these things are mentioned in the slides. Okay. So, but the thing is, guys, if you use this n-gram approach, lot of input variables will be generated. If I use unigrams, okay, I'll maybe get 10,000 variables. Okay. If I use bigrams, I'll get again lot of variables than 10,000. If I use trigrams, I'll get again a significant number, which is much higher than unigrams and bigrams. So how it works, I'll tell you, just wait a minute. So if I go to this Excel sheet again, so by unigrams, what I mean is that will be taken as a single word, was will be taken as a single word, quite will be taken as a single word. Those will be unigrams. And what I mean by bigram is, so if you see the second one, so no stream will be actually taken as a single phrase in bigram. Then stream this will be taken as a bigram. Then this weekend will be taken as a bigram. Okay, like this. And if I talk about trigram, no stream this. These three will be combined and will be taken as a single token. Then stream this weekend will be taken as another token. Okay, three words will be combined, guys. I'm just giving an example how it works. So if you take multiple, the higher grams like bigrams or trigrams, then we're actually going to generate a lot of variables, a lot of input parameters for the algorithm. Someone was pinged something. Okay. Okay, so this is the basic difference between bag of words and n-grams approach, guys. Let me go back to the slides. Okay, so in this text mining, we're actually not capturing the position of the tokens. Okay, where the tokens are there in that particular document or in the corpus, is basically called the syntactic value. We're not actually capturing the position of the token, and we're not capturing the meaning of the token, guys. What it exactly means. We're not actually telling this to the machine learning algorithm or the language by meaning which word is more important, or by meaning which word is more significant or less significant. So these things are not captured in this approach in text mining, at least in these representations, the bag of words approach or the n-grams approach. There are other different approaches where we can actually take care of these things, and they are called what to wake and globe approaches. Again, they are again very high funder concepts. Data scientists normally use these things, but it will not be easier for us to go through these things in this 1 hour period. Okay. So bag of words approach and n-grams approach, they are much simpler approaches, but these two approaches, what I have mentioned here, what to wake and globe, they're again high funder approaches. So very high, highly skilled data scientists or highly skilled people who are doing PhDs, they normally make use of these things, approaches. Otherwise, normally on a day-to-day basis, we use n-grams or bag of words approach. Okay. Okay, so I think in the beginning also, guys, I told you a lot about data cleansing, right? So if you talk about tweets, if you talk about Instagram posts, people who comment in Facebook or Insta or tweet handles, there'll be a lot of wild characters, there'll be a lot of emoticons, there'll be a lot of smileys, links to pictures, link to videos, audios, memes, a lot of things will be there, right? So those things cannot be actually interpreted by machine learning algorithms, and the data has to be cleansed. How do we do that? So, okay, I think it has been changed here, but yeah, no, this was in caps, okay, iPhone. So if you're actually going to interpret the data, then it has to be either converted into smaller caps or the upper caps. Because so iPhone, if you write in upper caps, or iPhone, if you write in smaller caps, it's the same thing, right? So it has to be in any particular format, with either uppercase or either lowercase. It can't be both. So that kind of processing we do in machine learning before we actually build the model. Then there's something called stemming, guys. What is stemming? So we try to remove or chop off the suffixes. Like I say, if you see these words, call, called, and calling. So call can be a noun. The call was not good. Okay. Call can be a verb. I tried to call him. He was called, right? It's a different word. In different senses, these words have different meanings, basically. Okay, it can be a noun, it can be a verb, it can be anything. So what we try to do is we actually try to chop off these suffixes. We'll remove ed, we'll remove ing, and we'll actually get the root words all. There is a different process to do that, and that is called stemming in text mining. Okay, there is also something called lemmatization. We will come to it later. Okay, so these things are done. These are the pre-processing steps which are done before actually building the model. Then the common words I said, right? Like it will be the, and, on, off. Okay, these are all very simple words, and they'll be occurring in the corpus lot many times, thousands and thousands, lakhs and lakhs of times, depending on the size of the corpus. They are basically called stop words in machine learning terminology. So these words have to be removed, guys. There is a list. We don't have to remove everything manually. There is a package which has the list of all these words. Once we import that package, once we write that code, then this stopwords will be removed. Then we have something called punctuations and numbers, right? So in text mining, we normally don't have to do anything with the numbers or the punctuation marks, okay, the exclamatory marks. So those also need to be removed. We have a different process for that. Then any hashtags, any @ mentions, images, videos, HTML tags, okay, URLs, those also things can be removed in the code before we actually build the model. Okay. Let me actually show you a model basically. I know you guys must be bored a bit because of this theoretical stuff. Let me actually directly take you to a model. So guys, if I talk about machine learning models, so there are different ways in which you can actually write the code. There are different editors available. You can actually download Anaconda. And in Anaconda, you have Jupyter Notebook, you have PyCharm. Okay, there's something called Google Colab. So Google Colab, you don't have to download anything. You don't have to install anything. Just go to a Chrome. Okay, just type Google Colab and you'll come here. And you can actually create a file where you can write a program like this. So Google Colab is very, very user friendly. You don't have to install anything. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to worry about your disk space being taken by any particular software. To download Anacondas, definitely it will take some space. Okay. Again, in Anacondas, you have your Jupyter Notebook, PyCharm, a lot of things available. Am I better now? Or is it still breaking, Shashank? There might be some issue in the internet. I hope it's better now, guys, my voice. Does the stop word list depend on the project or the domain we're working? I have heard about that. Not sure though. The stop words basically, I mean, here it actually refers to those particular words which are very common in English, like of, the, a, on, and like this. Yeah, domain wise, it might be different. Okay, it depends on the particular domain which you're working. It depends on the basic project, right, guys? Depends on the particular domain. If a domain doesn't want that word to be captured, then you can definitely remove that word from your corpus. Okay, now it's clear. Fine. But yeah, here in this simple example, what I'm trying to say is the basic common words of English, they're actually referred to as stop words and they can be removed. Okay, so I was talking about Google Colab, right? So it's very simple, guys. You just have to go to Chrome. You just have to have internet. Google Colab, just try to find it in Google and you can just write a code like this. So the code is already written. Okay, I'll just try to execute and show it to you how it works. So what normally happens here is, guys, I mean, you have to go to your Google Drive. Okay, this Excel sheet which I've shown you sometime back. I'll just place this Excel sheet in the Google Drive. Okay, from Google Drive, I will try to import the file. I'll try to make a connection between the drive and this Google Colab. Then I'll try to read the file, guys. Okay. And here, if you see here, they're all packages. So they're in Python. So NLTK is Natural Language Toolkit. So guys, in this text mining, we're actually making use of a lot of natural language processing, NLP libraries. So what is NLP? It has basically to do with your language processing. It might be speech, it might be linguistic, okay, it might be audio, anything. So if we talk about artificial intelligence in the field of language processing, you all must be aware of Alexa, right? You must all be aware of Siri. We also have Google Assistant. So what are they? They're basically virtual assistants, okay, where they talk with human beings. So I will tell Alexa, just switch on my lights. So Alexa will understand, okay, what I'm trying to say. Okay, there are machine learning algorithms built inside it. There is AI inside it, and it will actually take the instructions from me and try to execute it. So, okay, so they are nothing but virtual assistants. So we have programmed it in such a way that, okay, they can interpret what we're trying to say and they can take out the necessary action based on our input. It's just running. It takes some time to run. I had actually ran it sometime back. Let me just see if so guys, if you see this, I'm trying to run this code. You see this green arrow, okay? It means this line of code is getting executed right now. So if I take you through this, it will take a lot of time. We don't have that much of time. Okay, we will fall short of time. It's just a 1 hour session. Maybe we can have another session. The program coordinator will let you know, and we can take it forward. But I'll just try to just show you in brief what is happening. So here we have actually tried to download all the packages that are in Python. There is some NLTK is natural language toolkit. Then we have important packages in Python called as NumPy, Pandas. Okay, sklearn is scikit-learn. We have imported all these packages and libraries from Python using Python. So in our in this page, we're actually making use of Python. We're not using R language. Again, guys, there are two different languages, R and Python, which you can make use of. But Python is more user-friendly, more easy to interpret. So that's why we're making use of Python. So here in this line, you can see I'm actually importing that Excel sheet tweet_data from Google Drive, from my drive. Then I'm trying to do these things. So here, if you see, I'm doing the cleaning. So I'm removing these HTTP tags, okay, at the rate things, www. These things have been removed, and we're actually replacing them by white space. We're actually removing. We're only trying to keep the alphabets, guys. We're just trying to keep the alphabets like this. Okay. So any non-alphabetic character that is being replaced by white space. Then we do something. Then we actually converting everything into lowercase. If I show you it to you here, okay. Then here, if you see the stop words are there, okay. From English, all the stop words will be removed using English language. Okay. Then we have something called lemmatization. What is lemmatization? I told you, like it's like stemming, where you just have to take care of the root word. You remove the suffixes. Okay. Then again, this processing is there, guys. So whatever cleaning I have done, I can actually save it to a file called clean_data. And how it looks like clean_data, if I go to my drive, I'll just put it over there. This is how it looks like. So if you see here, this is how the words have been framed after the cleansing has been done. So it's taking every word as a token. Wow is a token, quiet is a token, stream. Okay. Weekend is a token, yes, true. So there are tokens. So once the cleaning is done, I've actually tried to put this in a file. This is how it looks like. Okay, cool. So when I do all these things, guys, then I have used a TF-IDF vectorizer actually. So I'm trying to build a TF-IDF matrix. Okay, using TF-IDF vectorizer. So here you see, I'm using these things. I mean, there are different things. I mean, in this short span of time, it will not be possible for me to explain to you everything. But there are a lot of things to understand here in these things actually. So I'm telling you in brief what we try to do here. We're actually trying to build a TF-IDF matrix. So now if I print the shape of the TF-IDF matrix, what's the output? The output is like this, guys. I told you, right? In our initial thing, it will be a document term matrix. So the first one will be the document. So here we have 2 lakh tweets, right, guys? That's why the document number is 2 lakh, 200K. And this is the term, number of tokens. So based on our cleansing, okay, we have got 13,383 unique tokens or words. This will be used further by my machine learning algorithm. Now, once this is done, actually what I can try to do is actually I can try to figure it out in a picture or in a graphical thing. And I can see whether I can, find any 2 clusters or not. I've told you, right? This has been divided into 2 different classes, +1 and -1, sentiment analysis, right? +1, it means happy thing, and -1, it means no, not happy, or the sad thing. So if I use further, so this data I can actually use to figure out if any clusters are being formed or not in the data. Then I can actually, I haven't done it right now. Maybe I can show it to you later in some other sessions, okay? How we can actually bring out 2 different patterns in the data based on the sentiments, +1 and -1. Okay. Now this is what I wanted to show it to you in the algorithm, guys. Let me go back to the slide. Yeah, I think that is the stuff from my side. Now I'll hand it over back to Ravi to take it ahead. Ravi, I think there was some disturbance in the beginning, so maybe people might missed some important information. Maybe you can just repeat. Yeah. Please go ahead, Ravi. I'll stop my sharing.
So Thank you guys. Hope you find interesting on this information what Jyoti has shared. So that is a great session, Jyoti. So those who find interesting about this session, so let me explain about the programs what we are offering. So through that you can boost your skills. So we are come up with some courses, the plans we have, that is course 1 is a Python for data science with Python, deep learning with a TensorFlow, machine learning, and Tableau. So meanwhile, once you are participating in these are programs, registering programs, so our programs are a hybrid level. We are providing a one-to-one live interactive sessions. We are providing capstone projects. Through that, you can improve your skills and knowledge in Python and data science. These are some examples, just like rock, paper, scissors, student record keeping system, all the things it's mentioned here. So some of the exams I can tell you that. So additional perk, those who are interested to participate our program, we are offering these kind of courses. Any of the courses, I will 3 months, we are providing 3 months internship with Allegro. You can offer any of the 3, and definitely will provide job assistance program also. So, and about the course and pricing, we are providing a 50% of discount. Okay, so offer till valid by 6 p.m. of 20th September. We are providing one course. We have providing 5 courses. It's a bundle. We are providing a single course in for 999 as 50% off till 20th of September. So we are apologies if any questions we missed. Definitely we can assist from that. If you have any queries, you can reach me anytime in the below mentioned details. What is showing is my name is Ravi. This is my number. Definitely I will send you an email. Any questions you can share with me. So I'll be here for give you assistance. So all the very best, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.